Hello dear World of Warcraft friends, welcome back to a new video on my channel. On Thursday, Blizzard presented the contents of patch 12.1 and also showed the new Mythic Plus dungeons for the second season. We'll take a look at that in this video. Meanwhile, as we can see, the graphics bug still hasn't been fixed despite the new NVIDIA drivers. Very nice. But yeah, let's just take a look at what you can expect. And with that, feel free to leave a like and subscribe if you want to support me. And let's get started. First of all, and we already knew this, there will be the 4 dungeons from Midnight that haven't been included yet. That means Naylarax's Lair, the Murder Alley, the Blinding Valley, and the Arena of the Empty Scar. Basically, I found all the dungeons from Midnight so far to be pretty good. Well, sure, I've only played them on Heroic so far. At the beginning, I could imagine, this is just my personal guess so far, I think Naylarax's Lair and the Blinding Valley could get a bit annoying. Arena of the Empty Ages, that keeps happening here all the time now, awesome, but I actually really enjoy Arena of the Empty Scar. Holy Energy is the alternative to conventional energy drinks. Without sugar, without artificial bullshit, in numerous delicious flavors, Holy Energy is the perfect alternative for you. If you need energy but want to avoid sugar, calories, a caffeine crash, and so on and so forth, preparation is very simple. Water in the shaker, feel free to add a few ice cubes, powder on top, just give it a quick shake, and your delicious energy drink is ready to go. But if you say, I don't want to consume too much caffeine, then Holy also has iced tea. They also come in many delicious flavors, and the best part is that both the energy drink and the iced tea are available in sample packs. So check out the links in the video description and my codes, you can save a lot there, and I wish you lots of fun with Holy. But as I said, we already knew that. The more interesting and exciting question was about the dungeons that are now being added. And there we have a new dungeon included. With patch 12.1, there will be a dungeon on Atal Utek, or rather, well, the island isn't actually called Atal Utek, but there will be one here on the island, and it's included. That means there's still room for 3 more dungeons. And here we mainly have a lot of Battle for Battleforged Azeroth in it. Unfortunately, I don't have any gameplay videos of that on my channel or on my second channel because at that time I wasn't making videos yet. We have King's Rest included, and to be honest with you, I didn't really need that. I don't really like that dungeon anyway. Of course, we had it back in the first or throughout the entire seasons of Battleforged Azeroth back then in Mythic Plus. And in Shadowlands, the dungeon came back again. That means, yes, depending on how many seasons you played in Battleforged Azeroth, but back then, the dungeon was always active. There weren't any rotations yet. Accordingly, this is now in Shadowlands, the 5th season, where this dungeon theoretically comes back again. Or rather, yes, if you go by seasonal pools, it's the 3rd time it's back. Honestly, I didn't need it. Not my favorite. But what I think is really awesome is that the Temple of Sethrelis is coming back. I really enjoyed that dungeon. I had a lot of fun with it, although it was definitely frustrating in some places, but I like the visuals and I like the bosses. And I'm really excited about that, I have to say. I think it's really, really cool that they included it. Alternatively, I would have liked something like Pit of Sauron. I thought its approach was pretty awesome. I would have liked it if they had reworked a dungeon from WoW TLK or even from Burning Crusade for Mythic Plus. We kind of have this poison theme, snake theme going on right now. For example, you could have said that with Cataclysm, Zul'Gurub and Zulaman were revamped. You could have said maybe you bring them back into Mythic Plus somehow. Or from Wrath of the Lich King, for example, I would really, really like to play something like the Forge of Souls in Mythic Plus. I could definitely see Azjol Nerub, I could even see Gundrak. But yeah, I would have found that a bit cooler. The 8th dungeon that's still missing is the Ruby Life Pools. And so that's a dungeon from Dragonflight that's coming back. And there too, I actually like the dungeon because it only has 3 bosses and is relatively quick to play. I can already say when there are those weekly quests with the mythic dungeons, just run Ruby Life pools 4 times in a row. It's really, really fast. But this dungeon is really no joke. Well, it looks really, really simple in principle. In practice, I don't know. I think some of the worst, or maybe not the worst, but some of the most annoying videos from the Mythic Plus season back then came from this dungeon. So the tanks really get shredded here sometimes. I think the second and third bosses often cause problems for randoms. That's why I expect this to be quite a shit show again. At least that's what I can imagine. Of course, it should be said that Blizzard has always reworked old dungeons a bit for the newer seasons. I assume, for example, we also had Aljathar Academy where a few changes were made. So I assume that there will be a few changes in this dungeon again. So they will definitely change 1 or 2 things around. Maybe the bosses, maybe the trash. So yeah, let's wait and see what comes in the end. Maybe it'll actually turn out pretty cool in the end. That was just my first impression. What just can't be salvaged for me though is King's Rest. Overall, I'm actually really happy with the dungeon selection. But King's Rest really wasn't necessary. So I think the approach with Citralis, that one didn't come back again in the old season. First, I would try to bring in dungeons that haven't already been repeated. But yeah, that probably means more work because those dungeons would have to be reworked even more. Well, what do you think about it? Write it down in the comments. For example, what would have been a dungeon you would have really liked to see? I'm looking forward to your opinions, and with that, thanks for watching. See you in the next video. Have a good time and take care.